I think we have a little time for some questions. I hope I didn't go through that too fast. Uh, I guess Sunny or Brandon, should we take some questions now?
Yeah, sure. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the chat so that we can talk with and find out what Christopher has to say. What is your anti-aging secret? Peter from Alpha Chimp would like to know.
What is my anti-aging secret? I can't divulge that actually, but I will say that it involves some teachings from Master Yoda that were never in the movies. They're not canon, but I can share that with you though.
Sue Epperson asks, what are your thoughts about collaboration versus competition in our industry?
Uh, Gosh, I because of my MG Taylor background, I always lean towards collaboration or mix of it, as we would call it, co-opetition, meaning that if we're swimming in the same stream, uh, you have to remember that your strengths can always maybe augment somebody else, and their strengths can augment yours, because you can't especially we're all small ventures, and to try to take on everything yourself, trust me, is foolish. And so, like, I know when I've wanted to do some things collaboratively, uh, like teaching, I reached out to someone who I had great respect for, and it benefited both of us. So I would say think about it as co-opetition. You collaborate, and of course you've got your own solo venture, but you're going to need other people, and you look for ways to form alliances.
Great, right? I agree with everything you said. It's very important to work with our our um, our colleagues. That tends to be my my MO. But Martine in Belgium, her question is how to balance working for free, which is an interesting experience, and maybe undercutting colleagues by doing the work for free.
How to balance working with. Well, everybody has their own threshold of what that means. I say the jobs that you agree to work for free, make sure that you've got a personal connection to it. So, like, I do some nonprofit scribing with an organization that means a lot to me, and I have to pick and choose those type of jobs because rent has to be paid. And as far as undercutting people, well, now, are you taking the job solely just because you want to, cut the legs out from somebody, and you're not thinking about your own, what you're going to get out of it? Because that could be very self-harmful. So I would say just be very picky and choosy about the jobs that you take for free or either no money, and then it will kind of sort it out in itself.
Another question comes from Mike Fleisch in Cincinnati, the great Mike Fleisch.
Little Mike.
He's interested in hearing your thoughts on the implications for our practice and practitioners as we consider community and global resilience.
Well, I don't know if we're ever going back to a normal situation. The days of, a lot of travel and big teams. I think those days are gone. That there might be, some scattering of it, but I don't know if we're going to get back to that. And so that means that as a community, we have to, and I'm not sure quite how this is done, but maybe some remote collaborative work opportunities that we could be involved in, maybe supporting a conference where we're all working in our own studios, but working and collaborating remotely. That's something that's probably going to start, happening, but I'm not sure when or how.
Carl in Belgium says, is accepting your fear the first step to managing it?
Yes, yes. I had that written down and neglected to say that because I was so fearful and nervous. But yeah, no. The first thing about fear is that you got to acknowledge that yes, this is natural. Don't freak out by it, and then that is the first step to overcoming it, so that it is not something that is just continuously overwhelms you, because that is what I didn't do when I left MG Taylor. I remember I was driving down I-95 to go back to my parents' house and just, tears in my eyes, scared as, just really afraid. And I was like that for weeks. And I wish I had acknowledged that that was natural, and I didn't blame myself for what had happened. But I did. I was young.
Yeah, it's difficult being gentle with ourselves sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
One more question, and this one is from Nevada Lane in the Bay Area. What are you learning and playing with now?
What am I learning? And well, one, I picked up some new software because I abandoned the Adobe suite. Just for me personally, I had had enough, and so I had to. I started working with these programs, Affinity. You guys probably, some of you might actually use it. If you are tired of Adobe, I recommend it actually. It's a lot more economical, and they've got some pretty powerful programs that are familiar but different. Also, the hardware side, I realized when I was practicing that I no longer like my Wacom tablet because I had an older Cintiq that they make great products, but they're one bad thing is that they kind of abandoned their older things as far as continuously updating the drivers. So I just got tired of that, and so then I bought I think it was a Huron Canvas. So I had to program in the macros again, and of course that's just hardware, software. Also, just as far as working remotely, something to train myself is just the self-discipline of it. It was always easy for me to. I always worked better event-wise. I used to tell people this is why I didn't like being a facilitator, and I used to call myself just a scribe, because a facilitator would have to be in a relationship with a client and really, be with them the whole step of the way. And I used to say a scribe, instead of a relationship, is more like a one night stand. You're wham bam, thank you ma'am, and you leave them dazzled and breathless, and you go on to the next client.
Mm-hmm.
But now working remotely, it's funny. You've got to prepare even more in a lot of ways, and have this continuous because both you and the client, we're all kind of learning how to do this together, and so I had to get a lot better disciplined about my remote working habits. Because it's easy to be at an event and be professional, because you're at an event, you're in that environment surrounded by people, you put your professional hat on. When you're working at home on something, you've got to have that self-discipline to remember that, hey, I've got to shut the phone, I've got to silence the phone, I've got to not look at TikTok and YouTube, and I've got to concentrate because I've got a deadline. As a matter of fact, I do. I have a Monday deadline, so after this, I'll be sitting at my tablet making an infographic. And yeah, you just have to learn that self-discipline.
Fantastic. Thank you, Christopher. That was a really, really, really great keynote. I think it resonated with a lot of our audience here, and you are, I've known you for years, but so I can say it. I love you, man.
I love you too. Brandon, thanks guys. Thanks everybody in the IFE. Meg, Duffy, I know you're out there watching, and I'm glad you liked the Grove course that you had. Thanks.
In the chat, I would love for you to take a moment and, take a few minutes, take a minute to think about which of the resilience principles shared by Christopher can you capitalize on? Can you really develop in the next few months? Take a moment to think about that and then type it into the chat. Also, you guys can go and look at Christopher's slide presentation. If you go look at his bio, it's in several places. You can find it under his bio. You can also find it in the documents on the home tab. So some of the answers are mitigating fear of the unknown, sharing passion projects, anything Yoda ever said.
Right. Sharing the talent. Yeah. It's good. Adapt or collapse. Diversification and adaptation. It's good stuff.
And remember, my whole career starts from seeking an interesting opportunity. I wasn't chasing money. It sounded interesting, and it eventually changed my life.
That's awesome. So there's also a fun little reactions button with a round of applause. If you want to give Christopher a round of applause, show your hands, clap, show some love. I think that's also very appropriate.
Wow. Thanks, everybody. I'm humbled.
I love that we got the Ellery yell. You got kudos.
Yeah,
from
I was fun to do that one. Hey, Ellery.
All right, so take it away, Brandon.
Okay,
so I'm gonna sing for the answer, for the healer whose work is never done, for the heroes that